Hello, Welsh Forest Focus. Was it another missed opportunity for Nottingham Forest as they drew 2-2 with Wolves today? It certainly feels like it to me, but joining me to give their take on the goal, the defending, and some very interesting performances off the bench are, first of all, Reds fan Mikey Clarke. Mikey, how are you doing?
I'm good, Matt. I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm all right. As I was saying before we start recording, I managed to lose my car in Nottingham for at least 25 minutes of wandering side streets till I finally found it today. So I'm a little bit more tired than I should be, but I'm okay. And second guest today is Reds fan Ruby Naylor. Ruby, good to have you with us. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right, thank you. It's a Saturday. It's not even 4 p.m. here, so still got most of the day ahead of me. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Yeah, disappointed with the result. I feel like we should have won. What was your take on it, Ruby, just in general, first of all?
Yeah, I think more than we drew, we lost 2 points. We had a couple. I mean, the Morgan Gibbs White flick over the head to Hudson-Odoi, and he completely miscontrolled it. Stands out, and then obviously the Origi to Wood one, completely missed. So I think again, more than anything, we didn't capitalize on our opportunities, and they capitalized on the mostly only few opportunities that they got. So again, down to mistakes from us more than anything.
Yeah, that was the thing for me, Mikey. Like, if we look at Wolves' opportunities in the game, they've had the one cleared off the line by Murillo, which came from a bad pass by Yates, and I don't think Sell should give it to him there either. They scored from the one corner they had, which we'll get into, and then defending from the first goal was a disaster. So do you kind of feel like, like Ruby says, we've gift wrapped them a point today?
Yeah, I think so. I've got mixed emotions really. Sort of coming out the ground, I'm thinking, how many saves did Matt Sells make? I mean, honestly, it was quite redundant in goal. We missed a few chances. We conceded from yet another set piece. We didn't lose the game, and Luton lost, so the table's looking better than it was a few hours ago. However, when you have a chance to sort of reflect on it and digest what you've just seen, it was us that had the best chances. It was us that was doing the pushing. It was us that was making the attacking substitutions. It was us that were missing the chances, and we just shoot ourselves in the foot again. So I think upon reflection, it's a point. So that's one good thing. But I think if you're being totally honest, it's a chance missed, and we know what's coming up. We've got a really tough game against Everton, and we know what they're going to do, what we're not very good at defending, and then Man City. So there's a real worry in the back of my head that in 14 days' time, the table could look a lot worse. So I'm on the fence. I'd say, what about you? What about you, Matt? Because I know you texted me straight afterwards and said we should have won. Do you still feel that way?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I still think we'll be all right. We'll get to that at the end. I feel like we kind of edged another point closer to safety. Luton's goal difference took the tanking we thought it would. So the onus is still on them to win more, win the next game. That Brentford game feels massive. And obviously our Everton game is massive now. We'll get into that as we go along. Good evening to everyone who's with us, by the way. Good to have so many people on board so early in the stream. Like Mikey said, Ruby, it feels like it was a familiar tale. Like, we've dropped so many points we should have won. And then set piece goals. I must admit, I can't remember if it's 20 or 21 conceded now. I did try and have a quick look before we started streaming, but that goal, there was another. It was a killer, really. We just scored, and I said to the person next to me, "There's no way we see this game out." And then we could see from a corner, like Mike said, the one corner in the game. What was your take on just how we defended that corner, and did you see it coming?
I mean, I never want to say I see a goal coming. I mean, I want to trust them, you know what I mean? But why did half the players leave their men? Why were there 3 open men essentially around cells? That was the biggest thing. Is I've said this before on this podcast, is the marking thing, checking your shoulder, like simple things that you learn from age 4, So the biggest thing is why are we leaving our men, especially somebody like Cunha, who I'm pretty sure is Wolves' top scorer. He gets goals. That's something that we know. So it was scrappy. I wouldn't blame Sells. I'd blame the defense. I'd say I saw somebody say something about having 2 young center backs as like the inexperience is getting to us, and I definitely think there's some validity to that. I think having at least, I know Felipe's had some poor performances, but having at least one experienced center back there, somebody to yell, "Stay on your man," even though it feels simple, does definitely add to our back line, because it's rudimentary things at the end of the day. It's leaving your man open, not checking your shoulder. So it was a goal that 100% could have and should have been prevented.
Yeah, I suppose Mikey, like they win the first contact, they win the second contact, and then they've got, like Ruby said, they've got 3 men queuing up to score at that point.
Just a mess, wasn't it? To be honest, I mean, I've watched it back about 10 times. Cross comes in. I think it's Chris Wood that sprints about 10 yards. I think it's Wood actually. Nowhere near the ball. Again, first contact lost, as you said, Matt. Then there's just Sells try and punch it. Somebody tell me in the comments. It looked like he tried to sort of punch it out, but obviously that didn't work. It fell. The guy, bit of a scramble. Guy taps it underneath somebody's legs. It's just a mess. And the first corner they had, the only corner they had, and we looked all at sea from it. And I just despair. And I think it's 21 set piece goals we've conceded now. It might actually be 22, if I'm honest. But it's more than 20, and it's significantly more than any other team in the league. And I just cannot believe we have a set piece coach that by all accounts is not being used. And I just don't get, like, are we really going to get relegated because we can't defend corners? Like, seriously, is it going to come down to that? The fact that we spent too much money, got deducted points, and we can't defend corners? I think we've chucked away 25 points from winning positions. I've not looked, but I bet you most of them is because we've let in a goal from a cross or a set piece. It's just, it's so frustrating because you know what's coming up. Everybody watching and listen to this. Everton, what on earth do you think they're going to do? Balls in the channels, balls in the box. And we struggle. And I think Ruby's right, you know. As much as I love the Amabamidele and Murillo partnership, and I think they could grow together and they could be phenomenal. Playing two 21-year-old centre-backs in a relegation scrap is risky. And if Willy Bolly can walk or Felipe can walk, they've got to get in the team. They just have to. But that goal was a mess, man. And I saw it coming. As soon as they got corner, my nerves just shot up. I think Mark put it in the chat as well. So did his. Because you almost knew what was coming. Because you know we're not very good at them. So we need 2 or 3 goals to win a game. And it's really frustrating. Because it's just stay with your man, as Ruby said. Edit and kick it. You don't need to be, 21 goals. I mean, honestly. I don't really have anything more to say about it, man. It's just absolutely so frustrating. That should have been 3 points today.
Yeah, if we do get relegated, it is going to be because of that. Because we addressed the goalkeeper problem. I don't think Sal's had his best game today, but yeah, I mean, we know what Everton are going to do. The next 2 games are our hardest 2 games. Everton away is harder than Chelsea at home, definitely. So yeah, that's going to really test us. And like every ball Everton win on the halfway line is going in the box. Wolves didn't do that today, and I don't know why they didn't do that. Actually, I was a bit surprised. Every free kick they took quickly and short. So yeah, I thought if they'd loaded it in our box, then they probably would have got even more joy from it. I suppose though, once we conceded Ruby, Wolves really sat back, and I felt like if anyone was going to go on to win it, it was probably us. Hudson-Odoi had chances. And then there's the Origi one, which inexplicably was not in the highlights package I've seen, so I haven't had a chance to watch it back. What was your take on how we responded to the goal and then that Origi thing? What should he have done there?
So, I mean, we knew going into this we were going to have to kind of be patient and pass around like a little more than we might want. They like to sit in a low block. So, I mean, I think we responded to that the only way we can, just to keep pushing and keep attacking. There's not too much else to do, to be fair. And we did it pretty well. I mean, our goal it didn't take too long. And it was decent. And then Morgan Gibbs White is funny man. But yeah, and then the Origi one, you mean the one where he kind of passed it to Chris Wood, but he kind of shot it? Like you have no idea. You don't really know. Yeah.
It looked to me, where I was sat on the ground, he looked like he was still on goal to me.
It did, but I mean, Chris Wood definitely had the better angle. It just needed to be a square ball. It needed to move 4 yards, and that was a tap in for Chris Wood, which we know he can do. So it was just poor. I don't know if he slipped. I did rewatch it, and he did fall down. So I'm not sure if he slipped, which might have played a big role into it. So if he did, that's just like poor boots. I don't know what you want to attribute that to, but that was disappointing because that was if we score that, we're getting 3 points. I firmly believe that. But yeah, I thought we responded all right. I thought we looked like we definitely had the momentum towards the end of the first half. I would say relatively beginning of the second half-ish. I mean, it started kind of slow, but I would say it was more in our favor. But yeah, just as we said before, big chances missed, especially that Origi one's disappointing.
I'll respond to this one from John. I'll tell you why I think Everton's harder. Because if you watch us defend any ball in onto our box all season, John, if we were competent at defending balls into our box like most Premier League teams, I wouldn't worry about Everton. Chelsea are flaky as hell. Like, couldn't beat Sheffield United. So, yeah, I'm not worried so much about facing Chelsea. But every time Everton take a goal kick near if they can kick it far enough, I'm worried. That's why I think Everton's a much harder game than Chelsea. Well, not much harder, harder. What about Origi, Mikey? He's getting absolute pelters on Twitter. I mean, it wasn't good when he came on. He has been better of late, but that was really poor when he came on the pitch today. Collectively, not just that miss. He really struggled, I felt.
It was right in front of me. So can you remember the previous game? Who was it? Was it Palace? When he was through on goal and he hit it? No, it was the game we won 3-1. When he's through on goal and he hit it wide, it didn't cost us that game. Very similar position. And I have to say, before I give you my opinion on Origi, the lad that came on for us, Ribeiro, the young lad, is about 4 stone wet through. He won more in the air than most of our strikers have done all season. Seriously, his jump, he jumps like a salmon. And he put himself about and he closed down and he played a brilliant through ball to Origi. Brilliant through ball right in front of me. Totally dissected both defenders, and Origi's in on the inside right channel. So from where I was, he had a run through at goal. And I thought, right, the Origi of a couple of years ago runs into goal and just bashes it. And either the keeper saves it or he smashes it in the goal. Whether it's his confidence, whether he looked up at the last minute, and Ruby's right, Chris Wood was in a good position, so he could have rolled it across. But he almost got caught in 2 minds and did neither. So it wasn't a cross, it wasn't a shot, it was just a spoon wide. And the frustration levels in the ground, certainly where I sat, were audible, should I say, and especially coming out the ground as well. So he did struggle, Matt. And I try not to dig players out, but you can only say what you see and what your eyes are telling you. And he had a bad game today, as did Tavares when he came on. That was an interesting 5-10 minute cameo. But no, I think let's just hope that Anthony Elanga is back for next week, because I think he will cause Everton some problems. Although, weirdly enough, Origi has quite a good record against Everton. You know, like they don't like him up there. So I'm reticent to sort of go in on him a little bit, because he could go back to his old ways and do something. But I didn't see much today to suggest that. And that miss was him being caught in 2 minds, basically, and doing neither.
I thought it was confidence, because he's been in that position, like you said, at least 3 times now, and he's taken the shot on every time. He's missed the far post. It happened at Spurs as well when we were out of the game. So, I think he got caught in 2 minds. Like Ruby's dead right. Wood was an easier pass. He was nowhere near executing it. And also when he came on, like, I thought he kind of shied away from taking the difficult choices. A couple of times he knocked a 1-2 for Nico Williams he was never going to get. Gibbs White was all you could see, visibly annoyed with him for not running in behind. So, yeah, it wasn't good. And Tavares, I'll say he was rusty because he's been out for a while, but like passing into the stands a couple of times, he was really struggling. And I agree about Ribeiro. He looked bright when he came on. That was a really good ball. The other sub Ruby that came on was Dominguez. I thought he did well. What did you make of him?
Yeah, I thought he did well. I wouldn't say I saw him do anything like particularly special, but I think he did exactly what he needed to do. He came on and he slotted in there, and I don't think it made us look shaky. I think it made us look a little bit stronger defensive midfieldly. But on the other side of that, Ryan Yates is I really don't like to say anything bad about like a homegrown player, but Dominguez needs to be starting. I would even Sangare has not been fantastic, but I'd put him in before Yates right now. His form is just not great, and he was taking shots that Brian Yates has no place taking, no offense to him, but like from the top of the arc or the corner of it, I don't remember exactly where it was, but just not the best decision making, and then just not doing much in general. The first goal, I'd say, I don't want to entirely blame him, because of course it's a team game and Omobamidele could have defended better. Maybe, just poke the ball away. Again, Cunha is very good on the ball. He's a good dribbler. But Yates was like 3 or 4 yards away when they were at the side of the 6-yard box. I don't know why he wasn't closing down quicker. And then Cunha cuts into the box and gets a fantastic shot off. Wonderfully placed. Credit to him. Sells couldn't do much once he was or once he was at the top of the 6-yard box. But I mean, just close him down. If you're cutting off both angles, Bamdeli on one side, Ryan Yates on the other side, he can't get the shot off at all. So, I mean, Dominguez, I think he came on and did well. I'd like to see him start next game, but Yates just shocking today.
Thank you very much to Martin Lilstrand. I don't know how much this actually is, Martin. It looks like a big number, so I like it. Thank you very much for 500 SEK. I don't know if anyone. Yeah, I'll do a thing after. But Martin, that's very kind of you. Before let's steel ourselves for a Ryan Yates chat. Then I need 15 seconds to get ready for it. Here is the matchday experience at the Trent Navigation. I was there earlier, and they have the live show today. Thanks to everyone who attended. Really enjoyed it. We shall see you on the other side of this video. Right, let's talk about the goal, Mikey. What was your take? I think Ruby's dead right. Why they've got to squeeze the space.
Yeah,
he's like when you watch it back. What's Cunha actually done there? I was thinking I'm going to watch his back and I'm going to see some amazing piece of skill. And it just wasn't. So what was your read on that goal?
Right, so he ran from way inside his own half. Nobody got anywhere near him. And when he was halfway through our half, I shouted to Lindsay next to me, any chance of a tackle? Anybody wanted to tackle him? And we backed off. And then when I was watching it live, he looked like he cut inside. It looked to me as if there was a little bit of a slip, but he got half yard and banged it in the corner. And I was like, oh, that's just awful. But actually, when you watch it back, Ruby's right. There were so many mistakes. So let me point a few out. No player should run from halfway inside our half and not be challenged and score a goal. Should never happen unless you Maradona or somebody back in the heyday. Shouldn't happen. So, secondly, Yates is just jogging back. So Bamdeli is one-on-one with him. He's trying to shepherd him into the corner. And Yates jogs back and doesn't sprint until the last minute and then sprints at a wrong angle. He almost takes Bamdeli out. So they come in too acutely. And all Cunha has to do is sort of cut inside and bend it in the corner. So that was completely wrong. And I will say as well, going back to my other point, if that's Willy Bolly, he puts him in the stand. Doesn't jockey him, he puts him on the floor. Like, there's no way Cunha turns and runs and gets half yard and scores. So whether it's inexperience, whether it's because he saw Yates coming and thought they'd just jockey him out, whatever happened, again, it was another mess. It's just the two goals we conceded today were just appalling. I guess from a Wolves perspective, you're thinking, if that's Anthony Elanga, you think, well, he's just ran from his own half. But you can always pinpoint the goals that you concede and where you could do better. And for both goals, they could have done a hell of a lot better. You cannot let a player run 60 yards and not get challenged. And it was just really, really messy. So to be fair, though, they responded really well and got the equaliser before half-time. But that's the type of goal you concede when you're in relegation trouble, which we are, unfortunately. So, yeah, it was just that Cunha's a really good player, isn't it? He doesn't need to be given 60 yards of pitch without anybody going near him. So, yeah, it was really frustrating.
I'm going to re-thank Martin. That's 36 quid. That donation is. That's very generous. Yeah, thank you, Martin. Pick up on Ruby's other point, Mikey, about Ryan Yates being replaced by Dominguez. Yeah, what do you think?
Of course, he wasn't great today, was he, Yates? Let's be honest. He does polarise opinion, certainly on this podcast and on a few others, in the stands, when you chat to people in the pub. There are people that are very firmly in the Yates camp and see what he brings to the side, and there are some that don't. I think I am probably horses for courses. So the Everton game next week, I think that probably is a Ryan Yates game because of the way they set up for midfield. Decorah dropping back, you need scrappers in there and battlers. That probably is one. I'm not sure today's game was for him. And I think Dominguez made a big difference when he came on. I think he pressed higher. As Ruby was saying, his usage of the ball is better. Quite considerably, actually. And I think he offers that kind of assurance and calmness. So, no, it wasn't Yates' best day, to be honest. And I think we've got to get the team selection right for the remainder of the season, because if we don't, then we're in huge, huge trouble. But I actually think, like I said, I think Yates will play next week. But then I'm not sure. After that, do you play him at home to Chelsea? I wouldn't. So, I mean, we can have these debates going forward, but no, it wasn't his best day, Matt.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Dominguez should be starting these games. I can sort of see why Yates is started today because he was good against Fulham. So I can see he's just a better footballer, and he sort of does what Yates does, but a better version. And I'm a big fan of Ryan Yates. I think he's got a big part to play in the squad, but he's much more limited. And yeah, he should be on the bench much more than he is for me. Although, like you say, I probably would start him against Everton, ironically, just for the battle. We know it's going to be, but that would potentially be his last start of the season. For me, I'd say. What about his midfield partner, Ruby Danilo? Got his goal. What did you make of that goal and his performance today?
The goal, I would say, like fabulous composure. That's what I wanted Chris Wood to do. The Tottenham one last week, where he smashed it into the post, and there's zero finesse in that. So I'd say, it was, simple goal, but well done, well executed. We've seen those Sky, Darwin Nunez does it all the time. So yeah, great for him. But I think he had a fantastic performance today. I would give him or Murillo man of the match. Was he man of the match? I actually didn't see.
It in the ground, and yeah, he was very good.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought Danilo had a fantastic performance. I'm pretty sure he created the most chances. I think I saw that. And then I'm pretty sure he won 100% of his duels today. I think I saw that as well. So just a fantastic performance overall. He does what he needs to do, and he does it well. There was a period where he wasn't playing at all, and I was a big advocate for Danilo needs to play. He was fantastic at Palmeiras. And I think it took him a little to get used to the pace of the Prem, but once he did, he kind of snapped into it. And I think he's been class ever since. And today was a fantastic example of that. And him just showing, he's not super experienced, but he's confident when he gets the ball, and he's confident when he has to defend, which is something we really, really need right now.
Yeah, I agree, Mikey. I think he's just quite dynamic, isn't he? Like, he's a little sloppy with the ball, but generally he's sloppy with the ball when he's trying something. So he feels like he's pretty nailed in the team for me now. What about you?
Yeah, I agree. I think he was the best player on the pitch today, Danilo. That was even before his goal. I would have said that. I think his usage of the ball is excellent. I think he struck up a good partnership with Gibbs White. The 1-2s they played together. When Gibbs White drops into that hole, he's always found by Danilo and vice versa. And you saw Danilo backing up his mate when Gibbs White went into the penalty area for the goal. He was there backing him up. It's Danilo putting it in. So I think he's inting for the rest of the season, if I'm honest, unless there's a significant drop in form or something happens injury-wise. But I think Ruby's right. He's proving his worth, and as he did at the back end of last season, where he was one of our most integral players, it looks like he's stepping up again, and we're going to need him. Let's be honest. So he's very versatile. Like I said, his usage of the ball is excellent. He's now chipping in with goals as well. So yeah, he was excellent. I like their right back as well. Is it Semedo?
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah. Him and Cunha for them. Danilo, Gibbs White. I think Murillo did okay. There was a few for us, but there was too many sixes for us, 5s and 6s. Whereas to win a game in this team at the moment, the majority of the team needs to be 8s. Let's be honest, because we can't keep clean sheets. We can't defend the balls in the box. We need to score 2+ goals to win a game, 3 usually. And for that to happen, everybody needs to be on form. And unfortunately today, there was Danilo and a few others that were, but the rest of them were average, and that's why we drew.
What about Reina then, Ruby? I'm looking forward to getting your opinion, because you would have seen more of him than us. His first start, I think he got about 70 minutes. What's your verdict on it?
I think he did pretty well. I don't think he made any out-and-out mistakes, which is big for us right now. I think as long as you're not messing anything up, I'll give you like a 7 out of 10. I like that he cuts into the middle and gives Nico Williams space on the side, because I think Williams does well when he gets a chance to run up the channel. I know it's not what we're talking about, but I think Williams' attacking today was relatively poor. I don't think his balls into the box were great. But back on Reina, yeah, I thought he was decent. I would still start Alenga. I haven't seen anything from him where I'm like, yeah, Alenga, don't play him. That would be a ridiculous thing to say. But I don't think he harmed us. I think he helped, and obviously the corner into Gibbs White was wonderful. I've been saying Gibbs White should not take corners for a minute, and when that happened, I was like, this was what happens when Gibbs White doesn't take corners. The ball goes over the first man, and then Danilo had a very good corner as well. But yeah, I would say I saw a decent performance from him. I definitely need to see more. He needs more time in the Prem because it's very different than the speed of Bundesliga and of the like CONCACAF and the U.S. men's national team, which they did win a couple weeks ago. So he has a big trophy, and he scored a fabulous goal in that game as well. So I think he definitely just needs more time to get used to our players and used to the speed of the Prem. But yeah, I'd say he had a solid performance today.
Yeah, I thought he was. Yeah, I'd like to see more of him. Is what I'd say. I think. Yeah, you're right. Elanga is the better option, but he was obviously injured, and I hope he's not out for long, as Mikey said. But I am curious to see what more he can do if he gets more minutes. There was something there, certainly. What about this? About the question about Gomez versus Gibbs White? Mikey felt it was going to be a key area. Was it a score draw? Gomez got hooks, actually. I was a bit surprised, but Gibbs White got his goal. He didn't really dominate the game, though. Did he look fully fit to you? Because we were a bit unsure he was going to play.
Yeah, I was, yeah. So I think first 10 minutes I was a little bit worried. I think Gibbs White won the battle overall because he scored the goal, he kept getting the ball. Anything we do kind of goes through him, doesn't it? Really, let's be honest. So, and you got to almost begrudgingly respect the way that Wolves set up. You know, they played quite deep. I noticed after about 60 seconds, all of them, including their striker, was backing off into their half. Bit weird that for an away team to come to Forest because I guess they probably thought, do you know what, they'll struggle breaking this down, and they were quite right, to be honest. We're at our best when the space is left in behind, but that didn't happen today. But no, I wasn't really impressed with Gomez, to be honest with you. I think Gibbs White won the battle, although it wasn't one of Gibbs White's better performances, but he did score. So, and we're going to need him on form for the rest of the season. I don't think he was, after that first sort of 10 minutes, I think he sort of got up to speed, and I wasn't overly worried. He didn't seem to be limping or struggling or anything like that. Quick question for you, Matt. You met your Wolves mate, didn't you, after the game? What was What was their reaction? What did they think to it? Because I was surprised they didn't go for it more, because they kind of like doing nothing. Now, if they pushed and got the win, they could have sneaked European football, perhaps. So I was quite surprised they were quite passive.
They felt Wolves were lucky to not lose the game. And it wasn't like that mate thing where you're just trying to placate people who were disappointed that their team's not won. But yeah, they thought Wolves sat back and we should have won. They did, let's say, and I think they're right. Like, if Cunha was fit to play 90 minutes and Hwang was fit to start and Neto was, and Aït-Nouri was a big miss for them as well. We caught them, another frustration. We caught them on a good day. Not for the first time this season. We caught a team on a good day, and we've not put them to the sword. Yeah, they felt we were lucky. They hate Gibbs White, which was quite funny that he scored right in front of them. But literally every Wolves fan hates Gibbs White. They felt like they actually felt a bit sorry for him by the end for the amount of crap he was getting off the Wolves fans. Some of the stuff that was being said about him and his partner was out of order, as it always is with those games. But yeah, their consensus was that we were the better team and certainly should have won. Nuno's game, a fair few pelts for his subs, Ruby, which I've been critical of in previous games. I thought they were all right today. What was your view on them?
I mean, my thing is, I do think Reina needed to come off. I think he stopped making any sort of impact around when he got taken off. So it's who else do you bring on? So I guess, I mean, Origi relatively makes sense there. And my thing is, like, he plays poorly for us, but he had chances, you know what I mean? Like, they're there. So it's just like they need to be capitalized on. So I don't want to say I understand why he's bringing on Origi as often as he does, because he gets a chance almost every game. And every game I'm like, well, maybe he'll do it this time. Like, maybe his Liverpool form will be here this time. And it just never is. So it's more of a question of, I mean, obviously, Elanga would come on if he was fit. But then Tavares made zero sense to me. I don't know why he did that. I mean, you said he was limping. That's why they took
Aina, did he have ice on his
off.
leg at the end of the game or something? I think he might have been struggling.
Yeah, I think he did. So I mean, I guess that makes sense. But we do have options. I mean, was Toffolo an option? Was he?
Yeah, he was
He
on
was
the
an
bench.
option. Yeah. So I don't know why Toffolo didn't come on, because when he was starting for us, he did well, and I didn't have too many complaints about Toffolo. So I don't know why he wasn't brought on, since Tavares hasn't gotten a minute in a while, and Hwang is somebody who's difficult to defend. He scored, I think it was like 10 before he had a hamstring injury before Christmas, which is a big number, especially for a team like Wolves. No offense to them, that's high for a single player before Christmas. So I don't know why Adol Tavares came on. I thought Ribeiro, I never know how to pronounce it. It's Ribeiro. I thought he came on and did well. I thought he looked quick, if that makes sense. He looked like he wanted to play, which is something that's big for us because oftentimes I'll watch players like Origi. I'm like, does he even want to be on that pitch? Where he looked like he had been desperate to get some minutes, which is big for us. But I don't know. I don't think the substitutions, in my opinion, were as horrendous as everyone says. I mean, they weren't perfect, but we don't have the most fantastic bench, honestly.
Yeah, I thought they made sense today. My dad texted me at half time and said you should take Yates off, and I did think that. And I think he's a little reticent to make the early subs, but generally, like you say, I think who else is he going to bring on from Reina after 70 minutes? There was no one else, and Origi had actually been better in previous games. I know he was bad today, but he's been okay. And I liked that he put Ribeiro on and the chasing. We had 3 forwards on the pitch at the end, so I give Nuno credit for that. Tavares was, I can sort of see a bit of logic. He struck up a partnership with Hudson-Odoi before he got injured, but Tavares was awful when he came on. So, yeah, there we go. Right. Any final thoughts on the game, Mikey, before we move on to a bit of chat about the big picture?
Yeah, I did see a funny tweet that said Tavares has just done the worst substitution cameo I've seen since Origi 15 minutes earlier, which I thought was quite funny. Kind of summed it up. Yeah, I kind of understood, going back to the previous question, I kind of understood the substitutions. I quite liked it when Ribeiro came on, because I've been wanting to see him, a young lad, bundles of energy, and he actually really he was only on for 10 minutes, but he really impressed me. I think he might have something to offer. Like I said, his through ball to Origi was excellent. And it looked like we went to almost a 4-4-2, because I think he came on for Danilo, didn't he? And he kind of so kudos to him for I guess going for it, for want of a better phrase. But you've got to remember at the same time, and look at the stats on Sky if you don't believe me, Wolves did 2 substitutions and brought on an attacker at right back and 2 kids on. So if you're not going to go for it at that point, you're never going to go for it. I was a bit annoyed that the injury time kind of fizzled out, as it tends to always do when we're trying to do something. So that was a bit frustrating. But I'm quite critical of Nuno, but I'm not really going to have a go at him this time about his subs, because I kind of half forgot them. It wasn't his fault. Origi was a bit crap when he came on. Tavares had a nightmare. I kind of half understood them. So let's see what he comes up with for Everton, because he's really going to have to earn his money in the next couple of weeks, because this next 3 or 4 weeks are going to make or break us. But no, I guess. Go on, mate. You go.
I'm with you on Nuno. Like, I've been critical of his in-game management, but today I think it was like Dan made a good point in the comments I saw about maybe we became too chaotic because players didn't know their positions. But I don't know. There's pressure to win the game, and I'm glad he didn't think, we'll take a point. We know Luton are 5-1 down at this point. We'll take a draw. So I'm glad he didn't do that, because that really would have really worried me if he'd taken that path. So I'll give Nuno a pass today, certainly. And I think the failings were our own, of the players on this one. Any final thoughts, Ruby, from you before we move on to the relegation picture?
Yeah, did we know that Ola Aina could do throw-ins like Niakate? I had no idea he had that in his wheelhouse. That was shocking to see. Not in a bad way, but I was like, I had no idea this man could do that. Did you know he could do that?
He's done it a couple of times. I was actually disappointed he didn't keep doing it. I thought, he did it in the first half, but not the second. So I would have seen that. And also, what was I going to say? I thought, it's not a big thing, but I thought the ref was bad today.
I was going to say that. I was just going to say, rubbish. Honestly, the amount of times I come on here and talk about referees, there was no absolute disastrous decisions like a Willy Boy sending off or anything like that. But the amount of times he stopped play and gave a free kick to the opposition side, or he got as much wrong for them as he did for us, and he's just not one of the best ones I've seen. And when you see, we had one the other week, didn't we? Who we came on here and we said was excellent.
Yeah, Michael Oliver was good, wasn't he?
Brilliant. Yeah. absolute different levels to this clown that we had today, and a few of the rest that we've had. Like, it almost spoils the game because you're trying to get into a rhythm and you're trying to press and you're trying to chase the game. And he gave a free kick against Gibbs White and booked him near the end of the game. Like, what? I mean, honestly, sorry, but like, well, what is he watching?
I think that's more his reaction. I think it was him just not wanting to put up with Gibbs White throwing a little fit at that call, which I get to a certain extent because they do have to control that. But like, I've seen much worse overreactions to calls for sure.
Yeah, was it Craig Pawson? I must have Megaphone Man says it was Craig Pawson. I didn't see who it was. He should really look at who it was now every game. I've just come to the acceptance that Premier League refs are generally pretty rubbish. This is a good point as well. Gibbs White's on 9 yellows now, so I think he's got to play one more game to avoid a 2-game ban, which would absolutely kill us if we have if we're without him for 2 matches. Right. Big picture thoughts, Mikey? Glass half full, glass half empty after this now with 5 to go?
Do you know, I keep changing my mind. I don't know, because you look at, nothing ever goes according to plan at the end of the season, right? I mean, look at the Championship. Look what's happened at the top of that league for the last 3 weeks. Like, nobody wants to go up. There's crazy results happening, and it's the same in our league as well. So we can say, do you know what? We should have beat Palace. We should have turned up second half, beat Tottenham. We should have beat a depleted Wolves side, because we've got Man City coming up. We've got Everton who are going to do an aerial bombardment on us, and then we could, by all accounts, be in the bottom 3 with 3 games to go. That's a distinct possibility. So that's one half of looking at it. You could also look and say, do you know what? We picked up another point. We're a point further away from Luton. There's a potential we might get a point or 2 back from our appeal. We've got better goal difference than Luton. That's another point. And we've got the bottom 2 to play. So there's another thing. I'm kind of in the middle, but the thing that gets me is the football that we play in general is decent. I always fancy us to score. You know, there's plenty of attacking threat in our team. The thing that lets us down, and the thing that I think might relegate us, is the basics. Picking up your man, giving the ball away, not tracking your runners, stupid mistakes, not one corner, 1 goal, 21 goals from set pieces. Like, it's little things like that kill us. And my worry is, when you go to Everton and Sheffield United and Burnley, they're not going to be the type of teams that do little tiki-taka one passes around you and open you up with like a 10-pass scintillating movement. They're going to toss it in the box and get on the end of it, which is what we're crap at, for want of a better phrase. So I guess I'm still on the fence. I need to see us turn up for Everton and scrap and battle and try and get the ball on the floor where we can, and somehow come out with a result. A point will be all right there. Just come out with a result. If we get done by a corner again, honestly, I think I'm going to explode, because there is we've got Man City, and no hope for that, if I'm honest. And stranger things have happened, but we could go into the last 3 games in trouble, and then it's pressure, isn't it? So I like what I see from us trying to score goals. I just don't like when we're trying to keep them out, and I guess that's why we're in the bottom 4. I'm literally on the fence, honestly, and I'm one way or the other. I'm usually a glass half empty person, but at the moment I can see so much good, and I'm thinking, if we turn up like we did against Fulham and like we've done in a couple of games, we'll be fine. But then I see what I saw today: corner going, you don't want your man. So you know me, Matt. I mean, where are you? Are you half full or half empty?
I think the reason I still think we'll stay up partly is, I mean, we've only lost 1 game in 5, and we're chipping away points. We're not. I agree with what you say, what you both said. We're playing well in some aspects of the game. We're playing terribly in others. I think the next 2 games might be rough. Like the Everton game is not a good matchup for us. If we'd have won today, I'd have been quite optimistic. But now, someone, I think it was Paul, made a good comment as well earlier in the chat about that. Everton have got Chelsea on Monday Night Football, and if Chelsea lose that game, Chelsea win that game, then that does put a lot of pressure on Everton. That's a really massive game. And then Luton beat Brentford. We say this every weekend. It feels like a big weekend, but Brentford have turned a corner a little bit. And if Luton don't win that game, I feel like they really have to win that game. Then we're just inching towards safety, and it's painful and it's slow. And it's not. It's like sort of like the Al Pacino speech about fighting for every inch, but we're not really fighting for every inch, but we seem to be getting there one step at a time. And I do think we'll be all right, but it's just been a miserable season, and I don't like the way we're doing it. But I think we've got enough about us and just enough quality going forwards that we'll find a way to do it. That would be my take. But obviously, I think we'll lose to City, and I think we might lose to Everton. And like you said, Mikey, those last 3 games are going to be absolutely awful. And it would, if we don't get anything Everton, then I think it probably goes to the last day, which it would be grim. Let me just, before I throw it to Ruby, thank Matthew Ritchie for becoming a member. Appreciate the support, Matthew. How are you feeling about it, Ruby?
I'm definitely a glass half full person because there are so many glass half empty boo boys in our fan base. I feel like somebody needs to always be behind us. So I will never be like, yeah, we're gonna go down. Like I have friends who are like, yeah, I have no hope. Or I had friends last season who were like, yeah, I have no hope. I 100% have hope. I mean, there are so many, like there are shining moments in most games. I mean, look at Fulham. I mean, we played good football there. Like it was a fun game to watch. Finally, it took us a while to have a fun game, but we got there. So it's especially when we play at the City grounds and there are atmospheres like after the second goal today. It was, I mean, from the TV, it was so loud and everybody obviously gets so behind, even when opposing fans are chanting misogynistic stuff in 2024. Like our stadium is just like electric in and of itself, and that is a big thing. So again, I'll never say that we're going to go down. I just have to keep the faith and keep looking at the positives rather than the negatives, because there's always going to be negatives to find. So picking out the good things, like a fantastic Morgan Gibbs-White performance, a wonderful Danilo performance, and like Dominguez coming on and that little triangle doing really well. If they start together, maybe we'll see consistently stuff like that. So I do see shining stuff, and I am excited for Everton. I want to be optimistic. Like you said, they do kind of play to our weaknesses, if you will. But overall, I'm optimistic, and we've taken a point of City at home. So who's to say we can't do it again?
Oh God, that would be amazing if we get anything. I mean, I don't think we will, but imagine if we do. Let's try and end on an upbeat note. We'll be back on Monday, 10 a.m. with Gary, Temps, and Emily will be joining me for that. We'll dissect this game in a little bit more detail and get the other guys' take on how it's all going, and we'll have the knowledge of whatever Everton. No, we won't, because that's on Monday night. Okay, forget I said that, and I can't edit it because this is live. But we'll be back on Monday at 10 a.m. anyway. Thanks to everyone who's joined us. About 400 people with us throughout, which is great. I hope everyone has a good evening. But in the meantime, Mikey, thank you very much.
Thank you. I'll just say one more thing, because I said it at the live show, so I'm going to say it on here. I do think we'll stay up, and I'll tell you why I think we'll stay up. The symmetry between what happened from last season and this season is quite stark. So last season, if you remember, guys, we had our last home game was Arsenal, 5:30 on a Saturday. This season, Chelsea, 5:30 on a Saturday. We're going to know what we need to do. We'll probably beat Sheffield United, and if Luton mess up, think about it, work out the points, that we win that game, we stay up. And I'm envisaging it happening now. It could be exactly the same. And what a day that will be. So we got a point today. See, I flipped again. I'm on the positive. We got a point today. It's a point further away. We need to turn up and scrap next week. City, God knows what's going to happen there. Sheffield will be, and then we can stay up against Chelsea. So that's my kind of blueprint for surviving. I can see it not going to the last game if we do our jobs. There's enough talent in this team to make it happen.
Well, sports scientists do say you have to have positive visualization. So let's hope the players are on board with that as well. Just before I say thank you to Ruby, if you haven't already, do us a favor and hit the like button. You can be a subscriber, channel member, and do give us a good review on iTunes. Do appreciate that. Ruby, good to have you back with us. I know you missed out last time because you were unwell. So great you're here now. Thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Glad to be over the flu. That was horrendous. But yeah, thanks for having me. Great time as always.
Absolutely. We shall have you back soon. And Mikey, I think you're on Tuesday, actually, aren't you, Mikey? I don't know. I
think so, mate. Whenever you want me.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, Q&A on Tuesday, by the way, and then we'll play out the live show on Wednesday for people who weren't there, and then we'll turn our attention fully to Everton. Right, have a good evening, everyone. Good to have you with us for the last 45 minutes or so, and we shall see you soon.